Welcome back, guys. Once again, here with our mock draft. Yesterday, we did a mock draft in a PPR format, and I was number 9 in order. As I promised, I'm gonna do one more mock draft, but this time I'm gonna be in the top 5, and I'm gonna be actually number 4. And it's still gonna be a PPR 12 man, 6 bench spots, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 tight end, and 1 flex position. So I'm gonna use a different approach this time compared to yesterday. The first 3 players that went off the board are Bell, Johnson, Gurley. Now it's my turn. Honestly, Antonio Brown, it's a great guy, great player, but the running back, for me, the top 5 running backs in the draft this year are gonna be really the best player in any fantasy leagues.
Capital One and Hotels.com are giving venture card holders.
And I feel like Ezekiel Elliott at this spot, it's my guy to take. So I'll take Ezekiel Elliott and I'll skip on Antonio Brown. And the reason why this, because I think that I can get a bunch of good wide receiver in the next couple rounds. But Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, when he came back from the suspension, he was averaging more than 100 yards a game. And the Cowboys have the best offensive line. They don't have that many good wide receivers, so they're going to run the ball a lot, which means they're going to feed the ball to Ezekiel Elliott more. And I think Elliott is going to be a top 5 fantasy player this year. I have David Johnson and Ezekiel Elliott as my potential RB1 this year. So even ahead of Gurley and Bell, potentially. I think that one among Gurley, Johnson, Bell, and Elliott is going to be the number 1 fantasy player this year. And I've ranked them, all of them ahead of Antonio Brown. So for me, I have to go based on my own rankings, and I have to take Ezekiel Elliott at this spot. But if some of you will take Antonio Brown, I'll still be okay with that. But keep in mind that you have a strategy in order to take Antonio Brown there. Also, before picking my second guy, I'd like you guys to go back to my very first video and to watch that video where I show you guys my strategy when you draft later on. And actually I got a good grade at the end. I think I got 93 out of 100. So I will leave the link in the description so you guys can check the video out. So let's go back to our mock draft. The computer is suggesting Mike Evans, but as I said before, I like to do running back, and wide receiver. So either go back-to-back running back or back-to-back wide receiver, unless there is a really good wide receiver left on the board. So if there is, for example, Jerry McNinnon or Mike Evans, I'll probably go Mike Evans. If like Devante Adams was available, I would have taken Devante Adams without any question. If AJ Green was available, I would have taken AJ Green without any question. But I want to see which other running backs are left to choose from. So as I was projecting, many people are going hard with running backs. That's why I rather get Ezekiel Elliott early on than Antonio Brown, especially if I'm picking at number 4, because I know I can still get really good wide receiver towards the end of the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, and 5th round. Everybody's going for running back this year. I don't know why, but in all the mock drafts that I've done so far, all the good running backs between the 1st and 2nd round, they all go off the board. Instead, wide receivers, you still can find some pretty good wide receiver in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. Like, if you compare the wide receivers and the running backs, the one that are left off between the 3rd and 4th and 5th round, there are so many better wide receivers than running backs. So I want to see what's left. I think that Jerick McKinnon is my best option, but I really like Jordan Howard in the 3rd round. I can go Mike Evans, Hilton, Thielen, Fitzgerald, Diggs. Like Diggs, Baldwin, Tyreek Hill, Cooper. Those all can be in the 4th round. I'll do Mike Evans now. But I think Mike Evans is gonna bounce back next year. Even if Jameson Wilson is gonna, before explaining my other my Mike Evans pick, I'm gonna go ahead and draft Jordan Howard without any question about it. Cheers. Sorry, I was thirsty. When you talk a lot, you're thirsty. So I think Mike Evans, I think was drafted at the end of the 1st round in many leagues last year. He didn't perform as a wide receiver 1, or at least as a 1st round wide receiver. But I think that he's gonna be left off around the late rounds. Around the end of the 2nd round. I think if you can get Mike Evans at the end of the 2nd round, that's a good spot for him, because I think he's gonna bounce back from last year, and I think that the Bucks are gonna be behind most of the time, so they're gonna throw the ball a lot of times. Even though Winston is not going to start the first 3-4 games, even with Fitzpatrick under center, I think Mike Evans is such a good player that he's gonna have a good season. So I have my 2 running backs. Now I'm gonna go for another wide receiver, and I like to take Jarvis Landry. I think Jarvis Landry in PPR is a better option than Golden Tate, even though Golden Tate is a great PPR player. But for me, it's like 50-50, maybe 51% to Landry. That's why I took Landry. Now I have my 2 starting running back, my 2 start wide receiver. Now I'll go based on best player available, and Jeffrey will. For me, it's too early to take a wide receiver. Let's do a different approach. Let's see if we can get a 10. For me, since the best hands are already gone, I'll wait on a 10. For me, it's too early to pick up Greg Olsen or Ingram or Walker. So Jeffrey, Wilson, Ajayi, Greg Olsen, Lamar Miller, Crabtree. Okay, I'll take Jeffrey. I have nobody on by week 9, so Jeffrey, I think last year he performed as a wide receiver too. I feel like the Eagles, they like to spread the ball out, because even Nelson Aguilar had a wonderful season. In fact, Aguilar is one of the guys I would like to target around the 9th to 11th round. But Jeffrey can be a really good player. I think he's going to have more touchdowns than last season. So Jeffrey, Drew Brees would be nice to take here, but I'll wait on a quarterback. 10s are starting to be going off the board. Someone took Greg Olsen already. Let me see what's left. I'll take Lamar Miller. I already took Lamar Miller in the other video. I think I took Lamar Miller in 1 round later than what I'm taking him now. But I'm really confident. Many people don't like Lamar Miller simply because he's not been performing good in the past couple seasons. But if you look at his number when Deshaun Watson was playing, he went from 85 yards averaging a game with Deshaun Watson to 40 to 50 yards without Deshaun Watson. So if Deshaun Watson is healthy, I'll be confident in playing Miller, in playing Will Fuller. And you will play Hopkins no matter who is under center. But if Deshaun Watson is healthy, I'll be confident in playing Lamar Miller. He's gonna be my bench guy. I'll be confident in using him. Now I can go with one more. I'll go with my guy Garcon. I really like Garcon this year. I think him and Garoppolo and even Godwin. That's a good. It's a good offense. So 7th. I think that's the 7th round, right? I have 1, 2, 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers. 7th round. Um, Most of the good ends are gone, but I think it's still too early to get Philip Rivers, even though the quarterbacks are most of the quarterbacks are already gone. Um, let's see. I can take Rudolph, even though I think it's a bit early, or I can take. Let's see who's left: Duke Johnson, Sonny Michel, Tariq Cohen, Devante Parker. I really don't like Miami Dolphins this year. Like, I won't touch any player. Not even Kenyon Drake. I'll go ahead and draft Duke Johnson in PPR. Duke Johnson is a pretty good safe bet, and those are actually two players that I drafted: Duke Johnson and Lamar Miller. Those are the two players that I drafted in my other mock draft. So, I mean, it just means that I really like those guys. So let's see what hand is left. Rudolph, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's a good time to pick up Rudolph. I'm confident in Rudolph. I've seen many times Kirk Cousins passing the ball to his tight hands, either Jordan Reed or Vernon Davis. I think Kyle Rudolph is gonna be a top 10 tight end this year, so it's a good spot. Philip Rivers, I think I can get Philip Rivers a bit later, like in the next couple rounds, because let me see how many teams have a quarterback already. Everyone has a quarterback already. 11 people have a quarterback. I'm the only one in this mock draft that doesn't have a quarterback yet. So I feel like people are going to draft running backs and wide receivers. So I can still wait a couple rounds and I will get Philip Rivers, which in my opinion is gonna be like a top 10 quarterback in fantasy for sure, if not top 5. Like, I don't know why many people are so low on Philip Rivers. I mean, for me, he's gonna have a really good season. Like, I really like the Chargers this year. People already taking defense. I see the Jaguars and the Rams off the board. I think it's too early. I have my tens. I think I can go wide receiver now. Let's see who I can draft. Njoku David Njoku is someone that I would like to target towards the end. I think it's gonna be a good a good tight end to stream once in a while. I think it can be a tight end 1 this year. Cameron Meredith, I want to see Meredith with his new team, but I think he can come back and perform the same way he performed 2 years ago. James White, this year the Patriots, they don't have that many options in their wide receiver core. They lost Brandon Cooks. Edelman is out for the first 4 games. It's all Chris Hogan. Then they have a bunch of new guys. I feel like James White can be the wide receiver number 2 for their team. I want to see which other wide receiver left. Devontae Booker is not someone that I want to draft this year. Deshaun Jackson is someone that I like. Bill Powell, Vikings. Mike Williams. I want to get Mike Williams the next round. Let's see. I think I can get Rivers in the next 2 rounds because everybody's a quarterback. I want to get a wide receiver. Or running back. Let's see who's left. Meredith, Golladay, Jackson, Sanu. I mean, the Saints are gonna roll with Kamara and Thomas, but I feel like Ted Ginn and Cameron Meredith, they're gonna have their own share for that offense. So I don't know. For me, I like the guy. I think he can perform as a wide receiver 2 in fantasy, but I want to see what other players I can target. How many running backs do I have? Do I have 4 running backs? I have 4 running backs, which for me are overall it's a great combination. I have 4 good wide receiver. I go ahead and take Cameron Meredith here. For me, it's a bit high, but I'll go with which whatever the computer tells me to do, even though I think I will wait 1 or 2 more rounds. In fact, it gives me 0% on 0% projection to take him. Mike Williams. I want to take Mike Williams. Damn it! I should have waited and taken Mike Williams. I don't like the Lions player though. If I take Riddick, I'll get one more guy, and then the next round I'll take Philip Rivers for my QB. I think it'll be there. I'll go ahead and take James White. I'll be happy with James White this year. I think in PPR it's gonna be fine, especially since everyone is praising Rex Burkhead. I think Rex Burkhead and Sonny Mitchell, they're gonna kind of share the RB1 kind of role, the leading role for the team. But James White, I think they're gonna use him as a wide receiver most of the time. So I think in PPR is gonna be fine. It's my turn. Philip Rivers is still there. I think it's a good time to take Philip Rivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With my 12th pick, I take Philip Rivers, and in my opinion, that's a steal at the 12th round. And I'll take Njoku with my other pick. And now I'll go ahead and take defense. And I'll take the Patriots defense. I should take the defense the other round. I should take the defense before. What defense is left? Unfortunately, I don't have a good defense this year, according to this draft. I wanted to get a top 5 defense, but I need to roll with the Patriots. Even though the Patriots, they didn't start that well last year. I'm okay with Matt Bryant as my kicker. And I think my team is set. I made a mistake though. The last video I suggested to take a kicker 1 round before the end, so the 16th round, and take defense at least 2 rounds before the end, so you can get a top 5 defense and a top 5 kicker. In fact, I only took the Patriots as my defense. I only took Matt Bryant as my kicker, and those are like bottom 10. Like those are like some of the worst defense left. And Bryant is not a top 5 kicker. But overall, the team is great. I got a 96 out of 100. This team is perfect. I think I didn't get a 100% only because I don't have a backup quarterback. But look at my team, guys. Philip Rivers, Zeke, Jordan Howard, Mike Evans, Landry, Rudolph, Jeffrey, Patriots defense, and Matt Bryant. For me, that's a really good starting team. Rivers, for me, is a QB1. I think he's going to outperform so many other quarterbacks. I think Rivers is going to fell off towards like the 12th round where I pick him. And I think it's a steal. Zeke is going to be great. Howard is going to be great. I think he's going to have another 1,000 rushing yard season. Mike Evans is going to bounce back. Landry is going to be fine in PPR. Rudolph is going to be a 10-1. Jeffrey is going to score more points than last year. He's going to have more touchdowns. Patriots is the one that I don't like. I would rather have the Ravens, the Jaguars, the Chargers defense, the Rams defense. But it's okay. I mean, that's the only thing I don't like. Matt Bryant, I think it's a good kicker to have. Even though I would prefer having Greg Zuerlein, Jake Elliott, Tucker, or Gostowski. Garcon, Miller on the bench. Those guys, if you have Miller and Garcon on the bench, you have to be lucky because many people will have Miller and Garcon in their starting lineup throughout the fantasy football season. And you have those guys on your bench. So you have 2 potential starters on your bench. That's really nice. Duke Johnson, PPR, great player to have. Cameron Meredith is another guy that I think is going to be good for the Saints. I think you can have some value with him. But I might have rather add someone else. But I think it's going to be fine. I don't think I'm going to start him anytime. But maybe like I will start him just one week, that's it. But I mean, if Cameron Meredith performs as a wide receiver 2 or even wide receiver 1, I'll trade him away for another player. So sometimes you have to use your logic. You have to, towards the end, towards the last couple rounds, you have to try to draft players with a big upside. People that can outperform their projections. Someone like Cameron Meredith, someone like Mike Williams, someone like Dede Westbrook, someone like Keenan Cole. If those players, they perform as wide receiver 2, RB2, for example, and you already have a good set of wide receivers, good set of running backs, you can trade them away for a better value for your team. So you have to use your logic. Don't just draft players based on their value, but based on the upside and what they can bring to your team. You know what I mean? I feel like after the first 7 rounds, you don't draft for your needs, you just draft best player available. That's what I did. With my first 4 rounds, I chose 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. Then I went wide receivers and running back again. And then I could have got a quarterback in the 7th round, but I waited a little bit. I could have got a 10 in the 7th round, but I waited a little bit because I adapt to my team. And I saw that everybody already had a quarterback, so I knew that I could have got Philip Rivers later on. So for me, Philip Rivers went really late compared to his average draft position. For me, that's a steal. For me, it's a steal to get Kyle Rudolph in the 9th round. For me, that's a steal as well. Or Lamar Miller, Garcon. I think this team can safely be a playoff team, contender team. I like this team better than the team I drafted previously. But both teams got an A on my mock draft. Both teams are playoff caliber teams. So if you have any questions about my draft technique, the players I drafted, leave a comment. For any other questions about any doubts in fantasy football, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll make another video more about, I wanna make a mock draft video. I'll make probably some ranking videos, go more in depth at each position. I will analyze what kind of players to target in the later rounds, what players can be steal for your fantasy team. So guys, I'll see you soon, and here you go. I'll see you soon, and cheers.